She hid her entire pregnancy and buried her baby in the backyard. Back in 2017, Skylar was a 17-year-old high school cheerleader from Ohio. Everything about her life looked pretty typical. She was a good student, popular, and preparing for college, but something major was happening that no one knew about. She had been dating this boy for a few months, and her mum took her to the doctor to get some birth control pills. That's when Skylar found out she was 7 months pregnant. The doctor didn't tell Skylar's parents due to confidentiality, and Skylar kept this from everyone in her life. She had struggled with an eating disorder which affected her periods, and despite being heavily pregnant, really didn't gain that much weight. I'll insert a picture of her at her high school prom. This was 2 days before she gave birth. In May 2017, she gave birth to a baby girl alone in her bathroom. She named the baby Annabelle before burying her in her parents' backyard. According to Skylar, the baby girl was stillborn. She said the baby wasn't breathing or moving. 2 months later, Skylar went to the gynecologist for a checkup, and they noticed that she'd recently been pregnant but there was no baby, which is when everything started to unravel. Police were called, and eventually Skylar admitted that she'd given birth and buried the baby in the backyard. Prosecutors argued that Skylar had killed her newborn and then buried the body in an attempt to hide what she'd done. They charged her with aggravated murder, involuntary manslaughter, child endangerment, abuse of a corpse, and tampering with evidence. But the defence told a very different story. They said there was no proof the baby was ever alive, and there was no definitive cause of death. They emphasised Skylar's mental state, her eating disorder, her denial about her pregnancy, and the fact she was completely alone when she gave birth. During the trial, one of the biggest issues was the condition of the remains. Because of decomposition, experts couldn't tell whether or not the baby had actually been born alive. In 2019, the jury found Skylar not guilty of aggravated manslaughter and not guilty of child endangerment. She was found guilty of abuse of a corpse and received probation instead of prison time. People were divided. Some people believed justice was not served, that a newborn baby died and no one was held accountable. Others felt there wasn't enough evidence to prove a crime, and that Skylar was a scared teenager dealing with something traumatic. But the biggest question still lingers: was the baby born alive?